Making a katana, namely the sword of the Japanese samurai, requires a very careful process with a very high level of precision. Starting from the process of selecting the type of material to the manufacturing process carried out with predetermined stages. The best katana material is the Tamahagane type, which is selected from iron ore with a very careful process. Tamahagane means jewel steel, tama means ball or gem, hagane means steel, gem of steel. One high-quality katana blade is made in a period of not less than 3 months. It can take up to 6 months, or even more. There are many methods of making katana by hand or by hand. Some use a process of heating and folding steel that is repeated and requires a lot of effort. Once completed, a sword must be very carefully polished before the craftsman can put a mark on their work of art. The katana is a testament to the highest level of craftsmanship, and the craftsmen who make it must have unique virtues. As with other works of art, the craftsmen of these samurai swords put all their souls into the process of making it, accompanied by patience, and also high intelligence to achieve the best results. Many artists are involved in hard work perfecting the details of the ornaments on the hilt, as well as on the scabbard. As a result, a katana worthy of being worn by the soldiers and knights of that era. A katana is not only the pride of the craftsmen, the samurai also have their own pride in the katana they hold. A katana became an important part of the soul and body of a samurai. Making the katana is one of the noble cultural heritage of Japan. The following is a step-by-step process that must be passed during the manufacture of a katana. Steel smelting. Traditional katana swords are made only of pure steel, which the Japanese call Tamahagane, which is high-value steel. For 3 days and 3 nights, using the traditional technique, the blacksmiths remove about 25 tons of river sand containing iron ore and put the charcoal into the tatara, a type of square smelting furnace made of clay specially made to produce Tamahagane. Carbon content in charcoal combustion is a key ingredient in making steel. Tatara temperatures can reach over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and the heat turns iron ore into steel and produces a Tamahagane weighing approximately 2 tons. The price of high-quality Tamahagane can be up to 50 times more expensive than ordinary steel made with modern techniques. Carbon dissolving. During heating at high temperatures, Tamahagane must not reach a liquid state, so that the amount of carbon that reacts with the steel is just right, and the percentage of carbon in Tamahagane will vary from 0.5 to 1.5%. Katana makers use 2 types of Tamahagane. The first is high carbon, very hard, and allows for a razor-sharp blade, while the second, low carbon, very strong, good for shock absorption. A sword that only uses one of its types, the sword will be blunt or easily broken. On the third of the kiln firing, the tatara masters crack the clay kiln to extract the Tamahagane, and they could easily see the carbon content of the steel from the freshly made steel shards. Purification. The finest Tamahagane pieces are then sent to skilled swordsmiths, who heat, forge, and fold the steel over and over again to mix the iron and carbon as well as remove impurities such as iron or slag. This stage, besides being very important, also takes a long time, because if there are elements other than iron and carbon left in it, the result is that the sword becomes weak. When the swordsmiths finished removing all the dregs, he could judge the carbon concentration in the Tamahagane, strength of the Tamahagane when it was repeatedly forged. One expert likens removing the dregs from this steel to squeezing water out of a very hard sponge. Sword forging. After the master swordsman had removed all the dregs by forging the Tamahagane many times, he then heated the hard, carbon-rich steel and formed it into long strips with a long gap in the middle. Then the craftsman forges another strong, low-carbon, carbon steel that he shapes to fit into the crevice of the other steel, and he forges the two steels that have been joined together. Two types of Tamahagane are now in place, hard steel being the outside and deadly blade, while strong steel being the core inside the katana. This perfect balance of characteristics makes the katana the most durable and highly prized samurai weapon. Sword coating. Even though the main blade of the katana was finished, the work of the master swordsman was far from finished. He still needed to coat the upper blade and the blunt part with a thick layer of a mixture of clay and charcoal powder, while the sharp blade was only lightly coated, and then the sword was heated one last time. This is to protect the blade, as well as mark the sword with a wavy design called awan, which will appear more clearly during the rubbing process. Furthermore, the expert sword maker heats the katana again with a temperature of less than 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. If it is more than that, then the sword can crack during the next process. Forming the arch of the sword. Next, the master swordsman took out the blade from the fire and then put it quickly into the water bath to cool it down immediately. This process is called the rapid cooling process. Since the inside and back of the sword contain very little carbon, they contract more when heated compared to the sharp front, which contains higher carbon. The difference in speed and rate of contraction between these two types of Tamahagane causes the sword to bend and create a distinctive curved shape. This stage is indeed difficult, because usually at this stage one of the three swords will fail to form. Sword's final touch. At the final stage, metalworkers add iron markers or other types of metal to the handle of the sword. Then, the carpenter wrapped the weapon in a wooden sword scabbard that was lacquered and decorated with various ornaments by the artists. Crafted from gold or exotic leather and stone, the handle of the katana is a work of art, as is the blade itself. Finally, the katana was returned to the master swordsman, who would check the sword one last time. It takes almost 6 months and the energy of 15 people to make one katana sword. Although created for samurai warriors, this sword will sell to art collectors for hundreds of thousands of dollars or even more. Some of the famous katana craftsmen include Amakuni, Akitsugu Amada, Hikashiro Sadamune, Keinobu, Kenzo Kotani, Masamune, Muramasa, Nagason Kotetsu, Okubo Kazuhira, Shindogo Kunimitsu, and Masamune Sumitani.